Hello Internet, welcome to another halfway completed repair video, courtesy of the one and only YouTube channel host, owner, and founder, Venture Link. In today's video, we're going to replace the upper control arm, but we're going to do a walkthrough on it today. This is for a 2003, 2004, or 2005 Crown Victoria, Grand Marquis, Marauder, or Town Car. And step 0 is to disable the air suspension if your vehicle has one. That's why it's step 0, because your vehicle may or may not have one. Step 1 would be to get your vehicle up in the air. In this regard, we got jack stands, but you can use a forearm lift or a drive-on lift. Do not use ramps, they will not be of any help to you. Make sure that your vehicle is safe and secured, because safety, structural integrity, quality, the right tools and parts for the right job, and doing the job right the first time, every time, are all number 1. Step 2 would be to remove the tire, 5 lugs, 21 millimeters or 13/16. Step 3 is remove the brake hardware. Just as a fair warning before getting started, the caliper may fight you and be impossible to get off, so you may want to take a pry bar or a long, thick, flat blade screwdriver, like this, and get inside the caliper vent holes, which are these little things down here, and pry the brake pads alongside the piston so that way they'll compact inside and be easier to take the caliper off. After that, the caliper bolts up top are 14 or 15 millimeters. After that, there's the 2 pad bracket bolts that normally would be here. They're 18 millimeters. Another fair warning here, either these bolts may fight you every step of the way, so be sure to have some penetrating oil or one of these cheater bars on your ratchet, so that way it'll be easier to get off. From there, the pad and the pad bracket slide off, and the rotor slides on and off just like a tire. Step 4 is to remove the sway bar link. Looks like this. This stud here at the end has a head for a 7 millimeter socket. This is the 15 millimeter nut. What you want to do is loosen the 15 millimeter nut, then put your 7 millimeter socket up here, then put an open-end 15 millimeter box wrench on the nut. Have your ratchet going in the clockwise position to move the stud, so that way it'll loosen the nut and you can get it off by hand. Same deal up here. Then it just slides off from down here, and then this top part slides up here from the steering knuckle, and when you put it back in, you should have this facing out, the top end facing out of the steering knuckle, and this part facing the sway bar. Next thing you want to do is remove this nut that holds the ball joint in place on the steering knuckle. This can vary from 20 to 24 millimeters. Just as a fair warning, just like with the sway bars, this will fight you every step of the way, so initially you may want to break this nut off first. And sometimes you may, just like with the sway bars, you may have a provision down here for a socket head or for an Allen key head. Put the appropriate size key or socket on here and then take the nut off. Additionally, you may also want to put a propane or acetylene torch on the nut. What we used in class was something called a Burnsomatic Fat Boy. It comes in a blue or yellow can. You just want to melt the Teflon out of the nut and then loosen it up from there. Additionally, when you get it down far enough, if you don't have provisions, you may want to take a pry bar and pry down here on the ball joint, and you may also wish to put a vice grip on the ball joint to help hold it in place. And the next thing you want to do is get into your strut mount. There's these 3 nuts here, one there, 13 millimeters gets them off. Just as a fair warning, you only want to mess with these 3 nuts in the equilateral triangle. Do not mess with the center nut. Messing with the center nut can loosen the tension on the spring, and if you remove it or loosen it up far enough, you can cause property damage, personal injury, even death. Do not mess with this nut. Alternatively, you could get in through this cover here. That also gives you just as much access to the 15 millimeter nuts, or the 13 millimeter nuts, my bad, as it does up top. Then the next thing you want to do is pry out the strut. You just pry down on the strut and then get it out far enough to where it vacates the strut. It's provision on the frame. Alternatively, you could remove this bottom nut here for the strut, nut and the bolt. This is a 24mm nut. Remove that, and the nut and the strut then should slide off and then fall out. Then the next thing you want to do is remove these two nuts. One here, one here. Again, these are between 20 and 24mm. Keep that in mind. Then after that, with the strut out of the way, you should be able to take a punch and a hammer and then punch out these bolts here. Then it should slide out, and the ball joint should slide in your hand. And then that's it. You're all done. You just remove the ball joint, and your reverse of removal is your installation. But just as some fair warnings to get out of the way, when I ordered my ball joints on Amazon, I ordered one side was the driver's side was, I believe, the hardware with one with the hardware kit. The other side was for just the ball joint and control arm only. So if you do get the one with the ball joint only, you will want to visit the Ford lot and get new washers, nuts, and bolts. Additionally, this bolt up here did not come with either of my control arms, so you may want to visit the Ford lot for that one as well. The washer is, as seen here, is positioned the wrong way in front of this nut. It should be behind this washer here, or the washer should be behind the bolt head here. The bolt head additionally also has a slot on the side, a flat end that lines up with the frame. Keep that in mind as you install the bolt back into the control arm to hold it in. And all three of these nuts, this one, and the one down here, all torqued to 111 foot-pounds. And just as a fair warning, you may want to have a jack or a jack stand under here when you torque these nuts down. This will allow proper seating of the ball joint and the bushings. Failure to maintain this will cause premature wearing of the bushings or the ball joint. And that's all there is to replacing the ball joint and upper control arm on your 2003, 2004, or 2005 Crown Victoria, Grand Marquis, Marauder, or Town Car. Oh yeah, one more thing is that if you do get the one with the hardware kit with it, it should also come with a nifty set of instructions, which comes in handy if you're trying to make this fit on a 2003 Ford Panther. You may want to read over those instructions, because this was an 04. I didn't need to have to follow those. And remember, if you have any questions, comments, concerns, praise, criticism, etc. about this video but no flames or bullcrap, hit me up in the comments section. If you have any questions about the Ford Panther platform as a whole, which covers the Ford Crown Victoria, Mercury Grand Marquis, and Marauder, and the Lincoln Town Car, hit up one or more of the following web forums or Facebook groups if web forums are not your forte: crownvic.net, crownvic.ca, grandmark.net, cvpi.org, and or the United Panther Owners Association. Either way, search all the forums, make an account on them, sign up, post your questions, and the fine folks at either medium or either forum, myself included, will be happy to answer any questions you have in a timely manner. As always, the subscribe button, thumbs up, thumbs down button, etc. are at the bottom of every YouTube video now. Mine are no exception. Look down at the bottom of the video for the subscribe button, hit it, and you can subscribe to me. You can see any new videos that I put on YouTube. They will be in your news feed and in your weekly YouTube digest emails. You can also thumbs up and thumbs down each video as you please. This has been Adventure Link. We're going to close this video out as always by quoting Eric the Car Guy and saying, be safe, have fun, and stay dirty. And a couple more from me. If it happens to be cold outside, stay warm. If it's wet, stay dry. Don't forget to scan your spoo and sometimes your pea slip. See you next time. Have a nice day.